Beer is made by men, wine by God. Martin Luther. Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV. This is the Eau de Vie edition, and this is day 17 of the 24 days around the world during Advent box. I'm going to name it something different every time. Okay, let's get straight to the wine, straight to the box. Lots of holes, lots of bottles clinking around. This one's supposed to be here, this one's supposed to be here. This one is down here, and I'm just gonna tear it off like that. And for day 17, we have a red blend from Portugal. All right, so day 17 gives us a red blend from Portugal, but if memory and my notes prove correct, I believe, we did do a red blend from Sicily, day number 4. So I'm not going to cover red blends again. That gives me an opportunity to talk about Portugal's signature red wine, and that is port, which is a red blend. This is not a tiny little bottle of port. I really wish it was. But here we are. We've got a few minutes. Let's talk about port. If you don't know port, if you are unfamiliar with port, if you've never had a glass of port, or if you've turned your nose up at a glass of port, put your nose back in there, because port is delicious and you should know it, and you should add it to your wine repertoire. Now, if you want to learn way too much about port, you can watch this video here. But in a little couple minute synopsis, here's the concept. Port is a type of wine that fits into this weird category called fortified wines. You have ports, sherries, and vermouths, all fortified wines. And what makes them fortified is that during the fermentation process, before that fermentation process is complete and all the sugars are eaten by the yeasts, they add a little bit of neutral spirit or a little bit of brandy. Now, neutral spirit is also known as vodka. So when you read or you hear someone say neutral spirit, know that they mean vodka. If you like to have a vodka tonic, that sounds interesting to you, you could also call that a neutral spirit tonic. Okay. So they add a little bit of neutral spirit to the port, to the wine. That stops fermentation, preserves sweetness, and makes for a big, bold, red, kind of boozy wine. But the booziness and the sugars play well together, and it's really not that boozy at 20%. They put that wine into a barrel, ship it down the river, because at the end of the river Douro, where one end up in the mountains, they grow wines, or they grow grapes. At the other end is the little town, well, it's a city of Porto, and that's where they export the port from. A lot of ports here. So Oporto has been the port capital of Portugal forever, and port became popular during the Age of Discovery because as it traveled, the alcohol made it stable. And so you could arrive at some place in the Caribbean or someplace over in India, and you'd still have something to drink, which was always, always, always favored by sailors. Okay, red blends from Portugal are also ports, or ports are red blends, but this is not a port. It is a still wine. I don't believe it's fortified. Boy, if I open it up and it's fortified, what a treat. But it's not going to be. They would have put that on the label. Anyhow, let's taste our red blend from Portugal. Okay, so I have filled out the top of my tasting card with the information provided on the bottle. And while I open this up, I should say that I think port, either a ruby or a tawny port, but certainly a port from Portugal. Don't buy one from California or Australia, although they do make good wines from Australia, dessert wines, but those are called stickies, totally different topic. Anyway, a port from Portugal would be a very nice after dinner drink on Christmas. If you've got people coming over for Christmas Eve, Christmas, or any time during the holidays like that, and you wanted to serve them something other than a boozy cocktail, or maybe a boozy eggnog, I think port would fit just nicely in after a Christmas meal or holiday meal or just a get together. Why not? Give port a try. Okay, here is our red blend. It's got nice dark color. Using the white square, I'm going to look at it. And I'm going to garnet. Is that garnet? It's dark. Let's hold it up here in the light. It's pretty dark. Okay, I'm going to do garnet, and I'm going to make an arrow toward purple. All right. Let's smell it. Field blends, which this is, don't really give us a whole lot of clues as to aromas we could be looking for. I get a little bit of mustiness out of it. A little bit of cherry. I can smell the alcohol. It smells a little boozy, a little hot. It's not hot. The bottle is noticeably cool. Okay, let's work our way around the chart. Citrus, nope, none. Berries. Gosh, this is really where red wines should show up. I don't get anything here. Low berries. Orchard fruits? No. Tropical fruits? No. Flowers? No. Vegetable and herbs? Whew, it is boozy. No. Roasted? Not really. Earthy? I mean, mushrooms? Just not a lot in there. No. I did notice alcohol and a little bit of must right on the initial smell. So you know what? I'm going to mark here noticeable in faults. Oof, this is not sizing up well. Okay, well, let's taste it. Wow. That is bitter and tannic. Holy moly. Sweetness. No. Acidity. It's funny because it was bitter in my mouth, but my mouth isn't really watering that much. That's, okay. Okay, medium acidity. Tannin, yeah, wow, it was so tannic. Now, is it boozy? Oh, it's so grippy. No, I don't really. I don't really notice the alcohol. Come back to preference. The body is medium slight. The balance. I think this has got bad balance. It's out of balance, the wine is. It's super, super grippy. It's very, very watery. It has no sugars to uh, poke up the body a little bit to make it feel a little bit bigger. Uh, I think it's out of balance. I think it's, yeah, complexity very low, and the finish is, I'll give it 1 dot up for a slight finish. I mean, there's something there. It's still in my mouth. Okay. Appearance, 3 points. It looks nice. Bouquet, 0. Taste, 0. Finish, 1. Impression, 0. And I'll go back here to preference and I'll say low. I'm going to go make my shape and do my math. All right, here are my final scores for our Portuguese red blend. 4 points. I can do that on one hand. 4 points. That falls into poor, and I think that's a fair score for this. But it's unfair if this is your only opportunity to ever try a Portuguese red wine, because Portugal makes very nice wines. This just isn't one of them. Of course, I talked about port, but they also make still wines from the Douro River. These, again, are field blends, and some of those are starting to hit the market more and more and are reasonably priced at around $10. You might be able to find a wine at that price point that is actually pretty interesting. So start with port, explore into the red Douros if you want to. Certainly white wines from Portugal. I know we had one a couple days ago and it scored 8 points maybe. It wasn't very good, but Portugal makes another white wine called a Vinho Verde. That's very good, very refreshing, very light, very perfect for summer, and is a little bit effervescent. Portugal makes good wines. The wine box just didn't give us any. Oh well. Here's the flavor profile for this red blend. You can see that I noticed no aromas except maybe some malts, and the only thing over in the bottom half of the profile is the tannicness of the wine in my mouth. Interesting. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. What did you think about this wine? What did you give it as a score? Leave me a comment down below. Let's see what Sarah thinks about it. I'll be back tomorrow for day number 18. Until then, I say à tout à l'heure and cheers.
Hi. Okay, red blend. Oh, it's pretty dark. More, I don't know what color, garnet. Has a nice aroma. I can't really distinguish anything. Let's have a sip. Light-bodied. Heartburn. That could be my own problem, not the wine. I don't know. Lightly tannic at the end. The after effects are more about the tannins in my mouth drawing my tongue out than about flavor for me for this one, but I think it would be fine with food. Cheers. On second sniff, it's a little bit musty berries, but I admit Dave said he smelled that, and then I smelled it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is what that is. So I don't think I was led, but it's possible.